In this video, we're going to take a look at a special subset of primitive objects called extended primitives. Like with the standard primitives, they're still basic building block shapes, but with a few extra options. Let's check them out. The standard primitives can be accessed over in the command panel by clicking where it reads Standard Primitives. In the list, you'll now drop down to Extended Primitives and click. Now, as you look at the names in the list, several of these objects are specialized to the point that their usage is limited to only unique situations. So what I'd like to do is concentrate primarily on the ones that I think you'll get the most out of modeling-wise, the ones that you'll be most likely to use in your scenes. Let's start with the chamfer box. You'll find it in the left-hand column, second one down. The chamfer box is similar to a standard box, but with rounded or beveled edges. Activating the top view, let's create our box drawing from the upper left to the lower right-hand corner. Try to center the two red sticks in the middle of the box as you draw to center your object in 3D space. When in position, let go of your left mouse and focus your attention in your front view. Now push up. This will be our height. Now when happy with that dimension, things aren't quite completed. You'll then click with the mouse and push diagonally to the side. That diagonal push will create a bevel on the box's edge. When happy, go ahead and click. Okay, let's take our perspective view full screen, then we'll center our object up by typing Z. In order to fully understand what the settings control, let's now turn our view into shaded edge mode, typing F4. Now we can cruise on over into the Modify column. Like with a normal box, you've got your regular length, width, and height settings. You'll notice though that below height you have an adjustment called Fillet. That'll control the size of our beveled edge. In order to be able to create a rounding effect on the edge, drop down to the segments, changing the fillet segs. If we lowered the height, we could have anything from maybe a credit card or an Apple iPod. Standing on edge, we'd have ourselves the body to a suitcase. So a bunch of different things that you can create with the chamfer box. Let's go ahead and delete this and take our windows back to 4. We can then recenter ourselves before continuing on with the Shift-Control-Z shortcut. Okay, back in the Create column, this time let's try the chamfer cylinder. Once created, it'll look pretty much like a regular cylinder, but like with the chamfer box, the chamfer cylinder offers us the opportunity to have more of a rounded or bevel edge at the top and the bottom. Let's make our object in the top view. Again, we'll start at the middle and pull away. So there's your radius. When happy with the size, let go of your mouse and push up. In the front view, once the object is about maybe an inch or an inch tall, go ahead and click. Then, again, push diagonally to the side. When happy with all that, click one more time to complete the command. Okay, back to the perspective view, full screen. Let's take a look at the controls in the Modify column. Again, like when building a regular cylinder, you've got the basic radius and height. In addition to that, though, you've got your fillet setting. A higher value widening the beveled edge, a lower value tightening that up. Why don't we also add a few more sides, then go in for the fillet segs. Taking the segment count higher will smoothen or round off that edge. So with the chamfer cylinder, we might be able to create things for our scene like maybe a pencil eraser, or if short enough, a round seat cushion. If made in the left view and lengthened, we could have something like maybe a paint roller. In our scene here, I'll simply rotate the object onto its side, then increase the height. Now each time I make an adjustment, I'm typing Z to better center the object. So there's maybe the look of a paint roller. Let's delete this one and then again go back to 4 views. Let's try creating an oil tank in our top view. Now when drawing, the oil tank will appear a little bit more rounded on the top and straight on the sides. When you're again happy with the radius, let go and push up. Click to set the height, then again push away diagonally. Once you're happy with the look of the object, go ahead and click once again to complete the task. Okay, back to our perspective view full screen for a better look. For the oil tank, you've got controls for both the radius, height, and cap height. The fourth setting in the parameters category is blend. Adjust that. And if also wanting to make it smoother around, you could crank up the number of sides. So when thinking about creating specific objects for our scene, maybe we could make this into an aspirin or other form of medication. Let's take a look at the capsule. Again, we'll remove the oil tank, returning to 4 views. Now when creating the capsule, it's going to feel like you've got a sphere on the top of the bottom and a cylinder going around the middle. Let's make that in the top view. Now when drawing, keep the original size fairly small. Then let go with your mouse, focus in the front view, and then adjust the height. When you're happy with that, go ahead and click. In the Modify column, experiment with changing both the radius and the height. So if the object's shape is tall and thin enough, we might be able to create maybe a thermometer, laser pointer, or a stick to stir a drink. Thinner still, maybe we have an antenna for a car or truck. Let's try the spindle. Now during creation, the spindle is going to kind of feel like a cylinder with points on its ends. Let's make one in the top view. We'll drag away, let go of our mouse to then control the height. Then when we're happy with that dimension, we'll click and push away diagonally. There's the point on both ends. Click again to complete the command. With the spindle, you have adjustments for both cap height and blend. Try those. You'll also find adjustments for things like smoothing out the sides and adding segments to both the cap and the height. So maybe for an upcoming project, we could create, let's say, a diamond or a space satellite. Let's again delete our object, heading back to 4 views. A little lower down in the right-hand column, you'll see a couple commands that end with EXT. That stands for extrude. In our top view, let's create an L extrusion. Let's draw this similar to the way that we drew a box. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner, then drag down to the lower right. As the object hits the screen, you can see why the command begins with the letter L. Once you're happy with that dimension, let go and push up. Focusing in the front view, you'll see this controls the height. Now when you're happy there, click again and push away diagonally. This will serve to add a little bit of meat to the L surface. Click one last time to complete the command. Back in the Modify column, you'll notice there's quite a few different things that you can adjust. You've got different settings to control all 3 dimensions, the length, the width, and the height. So in this, we could create anything from a bookshelf bracket or angle iron to something like maybe the back and side walls to a room. Rotating the object 90 degrees, we could even make something like a bed and headboard. Or maybe with a few more adjustments, a washing machine or dryer. Let's delete that and try something else. Let's give the CEXT a try. Now that's going to look just like the L extrude, instead it's going to be in the shape of a C. Why don't we make this one in the front view? Again, we'll draw it similar to the box, dragging from upper left to lower right. Now let go of the mouse and push away. This time, we'll focus our attention in either the top or left views to control that dimension. We'll click again and push away diagonally. That controls the thickness of the surface. When happy, go ahead and click. Okay, back to the perspective view full screen. Left the way it is, maybe we've got a staple or a magnet. But over on the right, you see we've got a ton of different options, again being able to control all 3 directions. Rotating our object 90 degrees would give us an opportunity to maybe create something that we can actually use in a scene. Here, for an example, being able to create maybe something like a desk, or with a few additional adjustments, maybe creating a little side table that we could position next to our bed. You just got to use your imagination. Now there's one more that I'd like to show you. Even though it's used primarily for special effects, it's pretty cool how it works. It's called the ring wave. You'll find it at the bottom of the left-hand column. We'll activate the command, then pull away from the middle of the grid. In relation to the size of the grid in the viewport, we'll go about halfway out. Now we'll let go and we'll push back in. The ring wave comes in handy when wanting to create a shockwave type of effect that you might see in an outer space movie or video game. Here's the Max Help system, which shows a picture that'll give you a better idea of just exactly what the end result of using a ring wave would look like. Why don't we go ahead and turn on Shade Edges with the F4 command so we can see our lines. In the Modify column, I'll take the ring width to 75 and the radial segments to 4. Okay, why don't we take things up a couple notches and show you just exactly how the shockwave effect might be created. Down below the timeline on the right-hand side, turn on Auto Key. Now if you want to know more about all this, just check out the chapter on animation. At frame 0, let's take our ring width to 100. We'll move the time slider to frame 90 and then change the ring width to 15. Okay, let's go ahead and play things back. You can see how the effect pushes away from the center of the object. We'll stop our play, then back on the right a little further down in ring wave timing, we'll turn on Grow and Stay. Once you've done that, play back the scene again. This pushes the overall shape outward as things expand inside. So kinda cool the way the ring wave works. Okay, that's going to give you an idea of some of your options when using extended primitives. They'll sometimes take a little practice in getting down the technique for making them, but the time you spend in learning them will well be worth it. I'll go ahead and save this out as ring wave completed if you'd like to take a look.